Hey everyone, welcome to a winning edition of the Bolt City Podcast. Dave Palais, Josh Palais, and the birthday boy, Mario Heron. Happy birthday, Mario.
Hey, thanks. Big 2-5. Watch the poop bowl. Things are different.
Things are different. See? Was this
Yeah.
your birthday wish that the Chargers would pull off a shutout against the Patriots?
It was that, and they re-signed Michael Bandy. So something had to give, and that the under would come in and hit. The under came in and hit, and Quinn Johnson got over his receiving yards. So everything's going good in the Circle City.
That's
Not
awesome.
Circle City. That's Indy, but whatever.
Windy City.
Windy City.
Hey man, we're having a good day. The way this has started off, Mario's birthday, so we always wish him a happy birthday. Know he's gonna have a good time today. Chargers pull off a 6-0 win. Josh and I got great news. Alabama's one of the 4 teams in the playoffs, pumped up facing Michigan, and then on to the national championship. So it's a good day, man. Thanks to everyone for for joining us today. As of course we're talking about this big Charger win. Now 6-0. I always say a win's a win, and you're happy to get it. One of the worst games of all time. I mean, as far as just saying, if you're watching a game and the whole deal, like you don't have a dog in the race, and you say this is the way we're going to go. You're going, man, football kind of sucks. Football-wise, it sucked. For the Chargers to win, which is important, I'll take a 2-0 win. It's just when you look at the Chargers and go, how do you compare to other teams in the NFL? And I always look at it, guys, how would they do if we make the playoffs? And right now, we are not a playoff caliber team. Our record's not going to get us into the playoffs. But at the same time, how far are we away from the better teams? Because the Patriots, outside of the Panthers, are the worst team in the NFL. Josh, what did you say?
Patriots are the worst team in the NFL. They're really bad. Mac Jones, you have to be laughing if you're him, right? You watch Bailey Zappi out there just looking like, nobody to throw the ball to, right? I don't think it's Bailey Zappi's fault they lost this game. That team sucks. The talent on that team is just not there. Chargers win. That's what obviously you want as a fan. And I learned one thing during the game was you can't root for your team to lose. It's just impossible. We're talking about, you want a good draft pick and you hopefully they lose. You can't root for your team to lose. And during the game, I was rooting as hard for the Chargers to win as any other game. And it's not the college football playoff. It doesn't matter if you win by 6 points, if you win by 60 points, a win's a win. And I'm happy they got it done.
I'm with you. Happy it got it done. It was ugly. You wanted to look away. You wanted just to get through it. And, it kind of went by quick, I guess. Shout out to, if you were playing a drinking game today, you could have had a good time if you did every time someone dropped the ball and looked at their hands. That happened about 20,000 times today.
Good call.
So that would have been a good one. Yeah. Chargers getting a penalty on 3rd down. That could have obviously got you going a little bit today too. Brutal game. Like you said, Bailey Zappi on the run too. On the run passing is some of the worst QB play I've seen in the NFL. Shout out Hunter Henry too. Guy still can't catch the football. Dave, I leave this game going, I'm happy it's over. I'm happy it's done. And I don't want to go back and rewatch. And sad thing too, Ekeler played the full game, 14 carries. Stevenson left halfway through the second, and he still had more rushing yards than Austin.
I thought he
Ekeler
went down in the first quarter, if I'm not mistaken, but yeah.
Oh, yeah, first quarter. Still, though, more rushing yards than Austin Ekeler.
All right, so there's so many things to talk about in this. As far as, entertainment factor obviously wasn't great, but if you're a player on either one of these teams and we say, hey, make sure you come in, we're going to go over and watch a little bit of film, this is a horrible game to rewatch. Hell, Gene, the guy who's supposed to be paying attention to, officiating, he got lost. Like, you could tell he completely tuned out. He missed an overturned call. Yeah, he goes, you could easily see, man, got a pinky on that thing and changed the ball, so the pass interference is taken away. Wait a second, why is there a first down? I mean, that was wild. Adam Archuleta was bored, hardly said anything the entire game. Just wow. Like, if you're a CBS, you're like, we paid this guy to get on an airplane and go there to do nothing? Like, he did nothing. The announcers were so out of it. Everybody was out of it today. It was kind of crazy. I'm just glad on a game that was so bad. The positive is that the Chargers won 6-0. So the crazy stat is when, we have our chests out and go, our team won today. The Patriots are the first team in the Super Bowl era to lose 3 straight games and give up 10 points or less. That's insane.
Wow.
That's insane where they're at. It is a bad roster. It's a bad team. And think about this, Charger fans. The reason I bring up Patriot news is there's been a lot of talk the last few weeks of Bill Belichick's picking his next team but he wants to be the coach and general manager, and the Chargers are on the top of his list. So was he coaching against his Knicks team? And at the same time, is there anything Bill Belichick has ever done as a GM where you go, man, that's our guy. We're lucky to have him. That should scare the hell out of everyone that's a Charger fan. Is we don't want that guy as our general manager picking the roster. Am I right, Josh?
Yeah, you're right about that. It's like, do you want the defense that he had out there that was really good, or do you want the players that he had out there that are really bad? Because he's responsible for both. And I'd rather have just the defense and not the GM responsibilities. We talked about this before, but I don't want him to touch anything that has to do with the draft or evaluating talent. Maybe he can give his input, obviously, like any coach would, but I wouldn't give him the full reins of drafting because obviously he's not very good at it. The defense he has over there is still great. I think the Patriots defense that you saw today is as good as, most teams, top 10, I'd say, probably top 10 defense in the league. Chargers offense obviously isn't very good, but their defense is pretty good. And Bill Belichick can do that as good as anybody in the league, probably the best in the league, but he's one of the worst I've ever seen at evaluating talent and drafting players. And since Tom Brady has left the Patriots, I think it's even proved his greatness more, right? He won despite having so many players that weren't great on offense. I don't know how many Hall of Famers Tom Brady had on offense with him. I can think of just one, maybe another lineman besides Gronkowski, but it is amazing what Tom Brady did with the Patriots, and you see how bad they are without him.
It's honestly astonishing, and you look at the talent that they brought in, and you're like, oh my gosh, what is happening? And I feel like I would want it in contract that if Bill Belichick comes, he can't be GM, and he has to have Josh McDaniels as offensive coordinator. I'm sorry, but you have to. I don't trust anyone else that you have, because if it's not McDaniels, you hire some guy that's an idiot and the offense is a disaster. But for some reason, if it's you, McDaniels, it's not ugly. It's Mac Jones' best years was with McDaniels. When they had Cam Newton, that team was a playoff team, and that offense, wasn't the best, but wasn't terrible with McDaniels. So it's one of those things where it's like, I would take you, but can we put a lot of reins on you? Can we change some stuff? It's it's like getting a cheeseburger. I'm gonna get a cheeseburger. Can I add a little lettuce on that? Can I remove the pickles? It's like, let's add some stuff in. Let's take some stuff out. But like you said, this defense is strong. I mean, they held Herbert to 212 passing yards. Pretty good. Ekeler only had 18 rushing yards. That's pretty good. Keenan Allen held to 58 receiving yards. I'll say this about the Patriots. Their secondary was very much ready to play and was very prepped for everything the receiving core had for the Chargers. I mean, there was one-on-ones that Keenan Allen had where it literally looked like the corner knew the route was coming and just played it perfectly. And that I'll give to him. And Dave, we had another showing of and we preach it all the time, but we have to mention it. We had another showing of why Quentin Johnson's just not it. I mean, that J.C. Jackson one-on-one situation where he did not even come close to beating J.C. Jackson. And then the drop ball where he was jogging, realized, oh my God, the play's still going. There's no whistle. Then he drops the ball. It's one of those days where it's like, dude, come on. And was that as frustrating to you as it was to me? Because that one, I was like, buddy, let's do something.
All right, you bring up an interesting point because I don't know if you guys have ever done this. I don't think any of us ever really played wide receiver at a high level, but we've all played wide receiver in the backyard or at a park with a group of friends. And you kind of do that move where you go out for a pass and you aren't going in a dead sprint because there's no real route tree that you have. No one huddles up. So you kind of do the fast-paced jog move. And if you realize hey, he's throwing me the ball, you do create space. That's exactly what Quentin Johnson did there. So he started off on the left side for the people who don't remember the play, and he starts going across the field. And I'd say he's going, Mario, maybe 85%.
Maybe.
And then when he realizes, you know what, the ball could be coming to me, he tries to gun it up a little bit, and he creates the separation. Now, the issue is before he even drops it, if you're Justin Herbert or if you're the Chargers offense and you're looking at this on film, you have to be going, dude, you got to go 100% the entire time. Number one, the play. The quarterback's sitting there doing his reads, and what he's looking for is there space? Is there a guy open? If you aren't going full speed, you aren't creating any space, and he wasn't. And Justin Herbert made an amazing pass to him, and unfortunately, he dropped it 3 times in one play. Got it, don't got it, got it, don't got it, got it, don't got it. Oh, it's out of bounds. I mean, it was ridiculous. It was embarrassing. It was one of those you just get up and you kick the chair and you go, "What the hell's going on? This guy sucks." And then when you talk about effort, Mario really should bother all of us, not just the three of us here, but anyone who put time into drafting him, coaching him, rooting for this team. It's a complete embarrassment. Complete embarrassment the way he goes about his business. I don't know, man. I'm so out on him. Every time he caught a ball, I kind of chuckled because we talked about the bet of the yards. But come on, man. Be a pro. Nobody wants to coach effort. You're getting paid a lot of money. Do your damn job.
Yeah, it was 3 steps forward, 2 steps back for me. I like that he had, was it 52 receiving yards. One thing I was talking to Dave about during the game was he does not catch the ball with his hands. If you notice, he tries to catch, his body catches everything. And it's really frustrating because you watch any of the top receivers in the league, and obviously they're all doing it with their fingertips, arms extended. Quentin Johnson does not do that. And if you remember the drop he had against the Packers, he was also jogging, right? And then he realized, oh my God, the ball's going to me. And then he tries to catch up, drops it. The effort thing is very frustrating because you never want to coach effort. And for him not to be hustling there doesn't really make any sense. They put up the graph of him compared to the other rookies, and it was just anybody that watched the game saw what that was. I'm not even going to get into how different it is between him and all the other rookies. Like I said, though, you don't want to coach effort, and you'd expect to make that catch. You expect anybody higher than high school probably to make that catch. I mean, hit him right in the hands, for God's sakes. Donald Parham also had a bad drop. Justin Herbert put some throws right on the money. I understand that it's raining, but you have gloves on and you're an NFL player, you have to make that catch. And Quentin Johnson would also tell you he needs to make that catch, but it happens too often where there's nobody around him and it hits him in the hands. I mean, what do you want from Justin Herbert or any other quarterback that's going to throw you the ball right to the sweet spot? It's supposed to be the sweet spot. And if you're not bringing that in, what are you going to bring in?
To your point, like you mentioned, like the rainy game, and look, we all get it. Harder to catch the ball in the rain, but you're in the NFL. You're in the NFL. And this wasn't, unless you're Dave Palais, this wasn't like a news flash what the weather was going to be. Like, everyone knew going into that day, like it's going to be rainy. It's not like, oh God, who'd have thought it was going to rain today? Like, no, like you have preparation for it. You prepare for it. And there's not really like a lot of excuses. Like you said, Parham had a couple bad drops today. Ekeler, dude, what happened to Eckler's hands? Like, what happened to him?
What happened to Ekeler, period?
Like literally, there's just, he looks just half of himself. And honestly, you could have almost seen the regression coming just from the production he's had the past 2 years and just the miles that's been put on him. But look, shouldn't be an excuse no matter what. You're in the open field, you make the play. And when you look at this record and you go, why are they 5-7? You look at the top guys, you go, it's because the guy that was supposed to be their do-it-all guy had 2 receptions for 9 yards and 14 carries for 18 yards against one of the worst teams in the league. I don't care, it's Belichick's defense. Still one of the worst teams in the league. It's not good. It's not great. And it's not a good thing going forward. And I don't know, Dave, the jobs frustrate me. Like, I'm not saying, and like, yes, you brought up a good point. The catching with the body versus the hands. Dude, you go to every football camp in the world, they always tell you never catch with your body. You catch it with your eyes and you catch it with your hands. Do not catch with your body. If you catch with your body, it means you're hurt. Then get off the
Why are we
field.
shocked? Why are we shocked by this? This was the book on him coming out of TCU. He did the same thing in college. That's why one of the reasons we all lost our minds when up to the point on the show, by the way, when I talk, I'm surprised a cuss word didn't come out. That's when we almost lost our minds. Anyone who knows what I was going to say, but they didn't take one of the other guys that we're all pushing, right? Is because this was the book on him. He had a lot of bad things against him that didn't show he was basically NFL ready. That stuff at TCU he was able to get away with because he wasn't going against NFL type talent. And we shouldn't be surprised. This is exactly what the book on him was. And we brought it up the second they drafted him. He doesn't catch the ball with his hands. He needs to get better at that. Well, now he's a pro. I mean, I don't know if he went to class at TCU or not, but man, this is all you do. This is your job, 8 hours a day to work on this skill. They got quarterbacks to throw the ball to you. They got a jugs machine. They got a million different things for you to have you work on this skill. It's insane. Where basically it's in the title of your job. You catch the damn ball. When someone drops one once in a blue moon, we'll go, wow, that's a drop. Doesn't see that very often from a Keenan Allen. But man, Quentin Johnson, every time he catches it, we're like, whoo, he caught it. That's kind of where we're at. We're so happy he just caught it. It is very, very frustrating that he has not fixed his game. And here we are at the beginning of December, and you haven't seen a tremendous jump. Real quick, going back to Austin Ekeler, Mario, what you said. Austin Ekeler completely could not stand up and back up his words. And man, we brought this up in the spring, and people who follow the show, man, you're nice enough to listen and leave comments. The whole deal, appreciate it. But I was really upset on this show when the Chargers gave him $1.5 million extra on top of his contract to basically shut him up. And my argument back to you guys was why? He has a contract. He's making $10 million a year. Why would you give him $1.5 million more? He agreed to the deal. The Chargers signed the deal. They pay the paychecks. You show up and you play. Don't sit there and he rallied every NFL running back up. You know, we deserve this and this. Guess what? Everyone else was right except all those running backs. Every one of them. Josh Jacobs sits out. Has not looked like Josh Jacobs. Jonathan Taylor, it's taken him a long time to come back to look like Jonathan Taylor. And when he starts looking like Jonathan Taylor, guess what? He gets hurt. So Austin Ekeler is a complete disappointment. He can go, and no one of the Chargers right now would say, do we keep him or not keep him? He's 100%. There's the door. He looks slow. He doesn't have any burst of speed. His effort stinks. He's not the same player he was. The Chargers actually timed his contract out perfectly on when it is time to get rid of Austin Ekeler. And there's the door right there. You can go. There's nothing about Austin Ekeler that's impressive. Anyone who drafted him in fantasy football is like, man, what a bad pick. But
yeah,
we all did. I did too in the league. Josh did too. You did too, Mario. We all fell for it. Because guess what? In years past, he got us what we wanted. So here you go. Here's a question I threw at Josh. Who's dropped off more this year? Ezekiel Elliott, Dalvin Cook, or Austin Ekeler?
Ooh.
They're all a disappointment, though.
Yeah, that's a hard one. I mean, I would say Cook, because Cook's like, I want a new team. And you're like, buddy.
Well, good luck. Where are you playing?
Yeah. Who wants you?
I mean, seriously, I got to think about next year's Turkey Bowl. Do we need Dalvin Cook? He just called. Like, he's not that good. He doesn't belong on an NFL roster.
Yeah.
Yeah. The decline. Sorry, Mark. The decline is so rapid for these guys. Remember Todd Gurley with the Rams? He was a touchdown machine.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden, he's out of the league. Right? He had
MVP.
1 year with the Falcons. MVP. Well, he's with the Falcons, and then he's gone. Right? And I think Austin Ekeler, to me, looked like Ezekiel Elliott, right? I was watching the game. You're like, it literally looks like they have the same running back on both teams. Ezekiel Elliott actually had the better game. Granted, the Chargers defense is worse than the Patriots. But the thing about Austin Ekeler that is like worrisome, Mario alluded to it, was the drop passes are very uncharacteristic. It's just weird. Even if you're declining like explosive wise, you should be catching the ball. And then there is no explosiveness with his runs. Like once he gets going, he really slows down. He is super slow, dude. Like there is literally, it looks like he's the fullback running the ball, like he blocks, and he's not actually the guy that carries the ball. And Joshua Kelly is not very good. And I think we've said that so many times on the show that it's like beating a dead horse, which is a horrible saying. But Joshua Kelly isn't even good enough to be the backup running back, I believe. I think they really should draft a running back in the second or third round because it's a glaring issue. And Christian McCaffrey was the one that had the big money, right? He's the one that wasn't really part of the conversation when you're talking about running backs need to get paid more because he had that giant contract. He is far and away the best running back, and he is living up to his contract. I would not, pay Austin Ekeler. I don't think anybody that's a Charger fan would want Austin Ekeler back after what they've seen. And it's crazy how fast he's rapidly declined. I'm curious to all the hits he took the last few years, how much that has made an impact on his explosiveness, because like I said, there's nothing there. And we were saying last season, this guy gets the crap beaten out of him more than anybody in the league by how many times he catches the ball and runs the ball. It is completely, I believe, taking a toll on his body.
And to your point too, this just might be something that I've seen, and let me know if you have seen it too. He doesn't break tackles as much anymore. Like he goes down quick. Like it's not like he gets contact and he's down. And it's like, dude, that's not a good sign. That's not a good sign. And yeah, is this guy a machine? Yeah, he's built like a Greek god, but he's not a Greek god. You fall apart. The more hits you take, the slower you're gonna get. And like you said, maybe it's just you got a lot of hits last year before that, played a lot of minutes, a lot of miles. Maybe, father time's coming for him. And it sucks to see, but there's regression. And it happens to every running back around the league. And it just sucks that's happened to Austin Ekeler. The Joshua Kelly thing, he did something today that drove me freaking insane. And I want to bring it up. A kill time drive for the Chargers, right? A kill time. It was about under 5 minutes. They had the ball. It was their fourth drive of the second half. Kelly goes out for a pass in the flat. They throw it to Kelly. Kelly goes out of bounds at 4 minutes and 50 seconds left. Why the hell are you going out of bounds? Dude, stay the blank in bounds. You're going towards the sideline. I get it. Like you want to, make a move or whatever, but then curl it back in. Realize where you're at in the game. Realize the situation you're in the game. Stay the freaking bounds. Like that drove me insane. That's just common sense, dude. Know the time of the game. Know your job. Stay in bounds. I don't know why that drove me insane. And then Parham had a drop right after that. I mean, when I was 5'2" running routes for the freshman team in high school, I could have freaking caught. Like, come on. That was just something that drove me insane with Josh Kelly. I'm with you, Josh. I bet you're in the same boat, Dave. I'm ready for a new running back in 2024.
We don't have a choice. We don't have a choice. And Joshua Kelly's defense, honestly, Mario, I think he was so shocked he caught the ball. He just ran out of bounds, not knowing where he was. I mean, because the one he dropped before was so embarrassing that he's like, oh my God, I caught it. And then last thing he's thinking about, do I stay in bounds or go out of bounds? They're terrible. The Josh on this show called it, whatever, 10 months ago that they need help right there. Well, not only is this team now looking for a quality backup running back, they're looking for a quality running back, just anybody. They got to go young, and that's what you do. I couldn't agree with what our Josh said, at the beginning when he said we got to get somebody early. And you said, do you want to waste a draft pick on a running back in the second or third round? This team's not going to have a choice. I mean, you really are going to have to think about when you draft, how soon do you grab one? We always say it's, a fool's bet to take one in the first round, but they have to take one early. They have nothing. Austin Ekeler, it is 2023. I'm willing to bet you 2025 Austin Eckler's not even in the NFL. He's out. His career's over. He's out of the NFL. Joshua Kelly, I'm not happy with him as a backup running back. I just think you can do better. There's not a lot of depth there. Parham, damn it, I picked him as my pick to click, dropping balls. And stop looking at your hands, like you said, Mario. Like, what the hell? You guys are wearing gloves. I mean, I see all these clips of everybody one-handed, everything on the side and behind the back, everything just one-handed. Our guys can't catch with two hands. Look, man, it was like 46 degrees in there, and the rain wasn't even windy. I mean, you saw the flags. The flags weren't blowing like crazy on the goalpost. They were flat down. It just rained. Catch the damn ball. It was nuts to me to see what we were watching and how disappointing it was. They can do better. And I'm not judging the Chargers against the Patriots today. I'm judging the Chargers against playoff teams. Like, how far away are we? This team going into the season, if anyone would have said to any of us, anyone who watches any Charger football game before the season started, hey, all or nothing. This team makes the playoffs. And we're going in. Without a doubt, they're making the playoffs. That's the dumbest question you've ever asked me. Are they going to the Super Bowl? That's the one I'm not so sure about. But going to the playoffs, that's a given. No, they're not going to the playoffs. They're picking in the top 10 in the draft. What the hell? What happened to us? How did we fall off so fast?
A lot of things: bad coaching, decline of Austin Ekeler, offensive line to me is not very good. The Patriots have 148 rushing yards. The Chargers have 29, I believe. It's just Chargers rush per attempt was 1.2 yards. A lot of that's on the offensive line. There's no holes really to run through, and even if there is, there's no explosiveness behind Austin Ekeler. And Joshua Kelly is he's not even a backup running back at this point, like I said. So Chargers obviously need to address that issue. I want to talk about something positive though. Mario, is it possible for a guy to win Defensive Player of the Year on a bad team? Because it's not like his fault that the Chargers aren't good. But Khalil Mack now has 15 sacks. He could get 20 this season. I mean, it's definitely possible. If he leads the league in sacks, is he possibly the Defensive Player of the Year? I know people are talking about Deron Bland. He gets beat sometimes. It's not like he's a shutdown corner. I think Khalil Mack is one of the best defensive players in the league for sure this year. Could he win it?
God, it's tough. It's like one of those things for defense too. Similar to like MVP and how like your team has to be good, like your defense has to be really good. And you look at the Chargers defense, like, God, you guys are in bottom of every freaking category. Like, even if we give you 2 bumps up, like, you guys still suck. But this is a prime Mac year. I mean, a prime Mac year. And it is so fun to watch. And what that makes it sad is, like you were saying, Dave, like, we're sitting here and we're going, can we even make the playoffs? And like, that's an honest question. And like, we're wasting this, and this guy's on the other side of 30. We're gonna waste this beautiful year he's having because the coaching staff can't figure it to blank out, and our receivers will go down, and we make no moves to help anyone. And it's very frustrating to have that. And you look at Mac, you're like, dude, this guy's just, I mean, he was everywhere today. And he was everywhere against the Raiders. And he always brings it. And he doesn't even bring it on sacks. He brings it on tackles behind the line of scrimmage. He brings it on making plays after line of scrimmage, chasing the play and not giving up on the play. And he's doing all this stuff. Like, how do we make sure like we don't go away from this? And do I think he win Defensive Player of the Year? Maybe. The thing that will help him is that we still play the Raiders one more time. And if you don't think he's going to have 3 sacks in that game, you got another thing coming. Because I think he'll do that, Dave. And I think there's a good chance. If you can bet it, there's probably odds somewhere. I would bet him for sack leader of the season because that gets definitely in the realm of possibility.
I tell you what, he's really been the bright spot by far. I mean, it's been a lot of fun. All of us are Khalil Mack fans. And even before he came to the Chargers, I think all 3 of us were fans of him, the way he's gone about this game. Remember, Clowney was the #1 overall pick in that draft. And the talk was all of a sudden, who are they going to take? Are they going to take Clowney or are they going to take Mack? And really no one ever heard of Mack and was like, well, who's this Mack guy? And then there's no way, because we all saw that crazy hit that Clowney had in the bowl game against Michigan where he almost killed a guy. And you're going, oh, man, Clowney's going to be a freak. He's like Lawrence Taylor. Well, Mack's had the better career by far. Mack is the better player. I thought his days were done when he left the Bears. And sure enough, man, he looked so good. You said something interesting to me, Mario and Josh. I'm curious on what you guys think on this. I understand your points, and you have to be on a good defense to win Defensive Player of the Year. But I think it's more impressive to be on a bad defense and be that dominating. Because if you're looking at tape, who are you trying to stop? There's only one guy. Hey, we got to worry about 52. If I'm going against the Chargers, I'm like, I need to know where 52, 45, and 3 are. Everyone else sucks. And then I'm going, we can have our day. If we could take care of those 3 guys, we're going to be fine. But Khalil Mack's numbers and season have completely surprised me. It's worth watching Charger football to watch Khalil Mack. He's incredible.
15 sacks with 5 games left. I believe the record is 22.5. So coming into today's game, he was tied for third with 13 sacks with TJ Watt, I believe, or TJ Watt might have 13.5, and Myles Garrett had 13. Donnell Hunter had 13.5 as well. So he's right there for leader in sacks. I think actually right now, speaking, he has 15 sacks. So he is the leader in sacks right now. I would love for him to win Defensive Player of the Year. It'd be a bright spot. I don't know if that means anything for the Chargers. It actually doesn't. I mean,
it doesn't
really mean anything. It's like
what do you like to see them reward? What do you like to see them reward the guy who actually showed up to work every day? Like, I'd love to see Khalil Mack wear a T-shirt in the facility saying, "I'm the guy who does this job." You know?
Yeah, I always say, yeah, I would love it, but like, I know we talk about baseball all the time. Like, I'm a Padres fan. Blake Snell won the Cy Young. Doesn't mean anything. Padres didn't make the playoffs. Chargers are unlikely to make the playoffs. It's cool because you root for the guy, but I'd rather Khalil Mack has an average year and the Chargers make it to the playoffs. It's great that he's performing. I think the Chargers defense obviously sucks, but without him, they'd be even worse. I don't know. I care, but I really don't, I guess would be my answer. I hope it happens, but if it doesn't, I'm not going to lose any sleep over it. I'm not going to fight for it on Twitter. What the hell's wrong with you guys for not voting for Khalil Mack? I don't care that much. Mario, my question to you also is, Chargers get a shutout, right? 6-0. How much do you contribute it to the Chargers playing good defense, and how much do you contribute to the Patriots just aren't very good?
I would go 70. The Patriots just aren't very good at all. And then 30% the defense, right? And then also put in a little percentage for the conditions because neither team could figure out the rain. They were all both surprised that it rained today. They couldn't do that. I mean, this is an offense that, look, they put up 7 points against the New York Giants. They put up 6 points against the Colts, 17 against the Commanders, whose secondary is one of the worst in the league. Like, this is not a team that has just offensive weapons and talent everywhere on that side of the football. I will say this about the Chargers. I mean, we talked about Mack. Tuli had a great game. The pass rush was phenomenal. Okay, I'll give them that. It was fantastic. We did get lucky a good amount of times that there just wasn't any talent on the Patriots, right? There's a couple deep balls that Zappe had where I'm like, all right, that wasn't a bad throw. Receiver couldn't make the catch. I'm sorry, we play the Bills. That's a catch. They're in the red zone. They're a touchdown 2 plays later. There's a lot of instances in that game where I was like, okay, a better QB makes that play. Zappe, anytime he was on the run, better QB makes that play. If Hunter Henry wasn't Hunter Henry and was any other tight end, not named Donald Parham, he'd make that play. So I think it's 70% Patriots offense sucks, and then 30% Chargers had a good day. Would you say that's pretty accurate, Dave, or are you going to give a little bit more love to the Staley and the Chargers defense?
Nah, the Patriots suck. I mean, I'm not giving hardly anything to the Chargers. There's nothing impressive. When you look through the stats, and you watch the game, you're going, basically it was really depressing. I mean, if you look at Zappy's numbers and who's not impressive. I mean, going back to what Josh said 40 minutes ago. Well, sorry, we haven't been going 40 minutes. Going back to what he said about Mac Jones, you have to be cracking up, going, it hasn't been me. It's not me. I'll see you guys on another team, and I'll prove somewhere else that I can actually play in this league. The Patriots have the worst roster in the NFL. We told you that last week. 100% true. It's really bad. The Panthers and the NFC have a terrible roster too. The one thing about the Panthers, they're going to go youth. The Patriots are 100% lost, which is fine. Nobody cares that feels bad for the Patriots. It's been 20 years that you guys dominated everybody or cheated your way through, whether it was footballs or, with your deflate gate or tuck rules or all other crap going on. Nobody cares. Unless you're a Patriots fan, we couldn't be happier that your franchise is struggling. And to show you how big of a mess you are in Massachusetts, or if you support that team, dude, the weather was crap. Your team stinks. You're playing the Chargers. They stink too. And yet you guys fill up that stadium and you sit there in the rain where 6-0 game. Just nothing going on in Massachusetts that you're saying, I'm going. You're going to sit in traffic. It's the worst stadium ever to get out of, to get back to Boston. So what's a 50-mile drive or whatever it is back? I don't know, Foxborough to the city of Boston. All I know is you have nothing going on in your life if you can sit there and go to that game and spend 3 hours watching that crap and then spend another 8 hours getting home. Good luck at work tomorrow. I don't know what to tell you. Patriots stink. Don't feel bad for the Patriots. Couldn't be happier. But not giving any credit to Brandon Staley. Why all of a sudden am I going to think Brandon Staley is a defensive genius? I know what it is. I've seen him when he plays decent teams. He's not impressive at all. I give 90% to the Patriots stinking, and the Chargers lucked out facing New England on their schedule.
All right, so it's 30 miles exactly from Foxborough back to Boston, an hour drive with traffic. I looked it up. Yeah, still, right? You guys have no malls you can't go to,
Yeah.
Like, what, is there
Just
nothing going on over there? Yeah, go watch the Celtics. They'll make you happy. All right, so a couple things.
Just give me something.
Yeah, something. Yeah, I don't get that at all. So the thing about the Patriots that's funny to me is if a team sucks and they have young players, you can kind of live with it, right? Like they're growing, they're going through the growing pains, they're going to get better. Kind of like the Panthers. I mean, the Panthers are awful, right? But they have like a young quarterback, you have hope. The Patriots, you got Devontae Parker, who's old. You got Hunter Henry, who's old. You got Juju, that's old. You got Ezekiel Elliott, that's old. It's like they're losing with guys that have been in the league, which just makes it so much more depressing if I was a fan. It's like, you're not going up. You're only going down from here, for sure. It's just weird that they go the old man route.
Jabril Peppers, have fun with that.
Jabril Peppers over there. It's just a weird route that they're taking. They have no young talent, which it's such a mess. If you're Bill Belichick, you can't get out of town soon enough, even though it's your fault. You drafted these guys.
Yeah.
So they had a plan, right? The Patriots' plan was to give the ball to Ramondre Stevenson. He had 9 carries in the first quarter. He was going to have 30 carries today. He was on track to have 30 carries. He gets hurt. It's the hip tackle, right? Everybody's against that hip tackle. He gets hurt. He's out of the game. Ezekiel Elliott gets all the carries. He ends up with 17, which is amazing that Ezekiel Elliott is playing today with 17 carries. That really screwed up their game plan. That being said, I don't think they're going to score more than 10 points today. That Patriots seems awful. Kellen Moore was concerning. There's some things Kellen Moore did today. Makes you scratch your head and cuss at your dog and, text somebody that you hate them, because Kellen Moore makes you angry. A 3rd and 6 jet sweep to Austin Ekeler. What the hell do you think is going to happen? Do you think he's going to break the end and get a first down? Is that what you're going to see right there? Austin Ekeler, you're going to give the jet sweep to? I mean, if you think the defense is going to expect it, they're not. And even if they don't expect it, they're going to catch up to him because he's not fast. Kellen Moore did a number of things today that made 0 sense. Did you see it like that, Mario, or did you think he called a good enough game for the Chargers to score a bunch of points?
I wanted to bring this up right away. This was Kellen Moore's, I think, worst game. Like, worst game. The Chargers' second drive, 3 straight runs. 3 straight runs. When the announcers go, man, Keenan Allen's getting a lot of cushion on the outside. Looks like they're not doubling him either. What? Do you not see that? Is there no one like up in the box going, hey, by the way, the guy that's been carrying our passing game is got a lot of cushion and it's 3rd and 3. Maybe we should, I don't know, a little hitch route. I don't freaking know. Maybe even screen pass, like do something. This was a terrible game for him. The run game, I get it, commit to it. I get running whatever. No, get off of it. Like you said, the jet sweep to Ekeler, when this guy's freaking looks like he's running and he needs his oil changed. Like it's terrible, man. Like what were you thinking on this? Like, where was the creativity today? Where was the execution today? It was bad. It was not. I think this game and the Dallas Cowboy game are the two games of Kellen Moore where I go, all right, there's some growing pains we still have there, and that stuck out to me big time. Dave was Kellen Moore. What are we doing? I'm sure I can imagine that you got a little pissed off.
I'll be honest with you. I looked at it different than both you guys. I thought the Chargers' game plan was almost to play Patriot style football. I said it to Josh because we watched the game together. Once Dicker kicked the first field goal, I said they're just playing field position the rest of the day. They're just going to keep being conservative, don't turn it over, and they're going to punt it back. And they know the Patriots can't put a drive together to score any points. And then they're going to put a drive together, run the clock down, boom, punt it back. And they were just playing the field position game. That's what I thought they were trying to do. That's what it looked like. I mean, the game ended up being 6-0, but J.K. Scott, get loose because you're going to be kicking a lot today. And that looked like the game plan. And whether you can say what you want, the Chargers say we won the game. Two is made Staley look like a defensive genius. I mean, you get a shutout in the NFL. That doesn't happen very often. So a little bit of pat on his back. It's not my fault. The guys are buying into the system, which drives me crazy when he says that every single week. The guys are really buying into the system. No, they aren't. I mean, you have guys in that locker room who just can't wait for you to leave. I mean, getting the hint when Austin Ekeler already starts your car for you before you even leave the building, that's not a good sign. They want you gone. But he drops that every single week. So the press conference, again, we do the show as soon as the game ends. We don't hear the comments. But I guarantee you this whole press conference is Staley patting himself on the back today about, hey, my defense and my guys. It's always going to be his side of the ball because he heard all the talk, guys, that you heard. Hey, most coaches are either offense or defensive coaches, and they take care of their side of the ball, but he's the only one that doesn't take care of his side of the ball. Now he can put it in our face and go, I told you guys. My guys know what they're doing, and we took care of the ball. Okay, fine. But yeah, I don't think Kellen Moore. I think Kellen Moore got suckered into follow Staley's game plan. I'll be honest, unless he's that inept, and he might be. I mean, we've seen it. He was inept a lot of times this year. Big disappointment, right? If we did our top 10 list, all three of us, and I read the YouTube comments because I know the fans will probably put it number one. Biggest disappointment from the Chargers the whole year. Kellen Moore might be at the top of that list from what we thought we were getting.
Yeah. I think it's come more to light definitely recently, I feel like, too. Where Mario said the Cowboys game was very frustrating. Today's game was frustrating. You can't blame Kellen Moore for drop passes, but 3 runs in a row for a team that you're not going to run the ball against is confusing. The jet sweep to Ekeler is confusing. And the creativity, the lack of creativity, I should say, is really the thing that bothers me the most. You think when you get Kellen Moore, you're going to see this extravagant offense. It's going to be really cool. Chargers don't do anything but basic plays. And that's something that really bothers me. And you saw the last play he ever had with the Patriots or the Cowboys was Ezekiel Elliott getting killed, right? With that trick play thing he ran. I know you can't judge a coach off of one play, but there is like even less creativity in the fourth quarter. It's so basic. And Kellen Moore to me has been completely basic. I'm curious what his future is. I know he's going to get some head coaching opportunities. If he went somewhere else, I wouldn't be upset about it. If they brought in Ben Johnson, I'd be very, very stoked. Kellen Moore has just not been creative at all. The MVP for me would be Khalil Mack for this game, but J.K. Scott would be the runner-up. He had 8 punts today. 7 were in the 20 or less, pinned them between the 20 and the goal line. He was awesome. And our special teams has been one of the best in the NFL this year. Cameron Dicker, again, doesn't miss a kick. He's been pretty good there. But I'm with Dave. I think the biggest disappointment to me would be Kellen Moore. I think him and the whole defense, I guess, would be second or first. The whole defense just being terrible, and then Kellen Moore would be up there too.
Yeah, and maybe cut him a little slack just with like the injuries that he's got. But at the same time, it's just there's certain instances where like, dude, what are we thinking here? Like, what are we doing here? And, I get it when you don't have the talent that you thought you're going to have throughout the year, you become limited. But when you get limited, get creative. And I think that's where he's been falling short. Yeah, shout out J.K. Scott, man. I mean, that guy showed up ready to play. And who would have thought that guy, I mean, not really who would have thought, but he was probably surprised by the amount of plays he was in today. He's like, wow, I'm getting a real taste of action today, man. Like, let's go. But shout out to him. Darius, special teams did good. Dicker the kicker. God bless that man. And then Darius Davis even had some really good returns today that put Chargers in really good field positions.
You're right.
So, look, it was the classic tale. I think the theme of this game was conservative offense, big boot by Scott, and then as soon as the Patriots get a little bit of momentum on offense, they get like back-to-back sacks, or Zappy just gets blown up and he throws it to the sky. And then it's like, all right, Chargers ball. Okay, 3 and out. Give it back to you. And that was like pretty much just the theme of all day today until we all decided that this is the ugliest thing we've ever had to watch in our life. It was kind of like watching this game was like looking at myself when I was 12 years old, had braces and was bald, and I was like 4'9". Just not a good thing to see.
Wait. Go through those dimensions again. Give me the age, the height, everything
Okay,
again.
so I was 12 braces, bald,
Okay. Why were you
and
bald?
4'9". Dude, because I didn't we never went to get haircuts, so we had clippers. So my brother would just put the 2 clip on and would just, if it got too long, we'd just shave it. So I was like bald, but I didn't have a lot of hair.
Okay.
I got a fade, just fade all over.
All right. 4'9". All right. I don't
Yeah.
know. I'm trying to think how tall you're supposed to be at 12 years old, but all right. Yeah, it's not good. Yeah, it's funny. The team wins. There's not a lot to talk about as far as offense. We've gone the entire show. We really haven't talked about, Justin Herbert. It's just kind of like a game manager. Again, if you look at the numbers, he averaged, I think, 5.7 yards a pass or completion today. A lot of drop balls, 4 of them dropped by, some big time players, some guys, not some big time players, but still, whenever you see a drop ball in the NFL, you're surprised. I don't have the stats in front of me, but yeah, I think Zappy had 5.5 yards per completion. So not a big difference. When you look at the contracts, a huge difference. No interceptions, no touchdowns for either quarterback. Passing rating, nothing to write home about. The big thing is the Chargers get the win, and you move on to Denver. And so they host the Denver Broncos next week. We know that's been a different Bronco team from the one we expected to see. Sean Payton. Look, we know there are guys in the NFL, and I think it's human nature that you want to prove yourself of saying, hey, I should have had an opportunity. We saw it with McDaniel when he stuck it to the Broncos and, put up 70 on them. And basically he wanted an interview for that Broncos job, didn't get it. He's coach of the Dolphins. Things have worked out. Sean Payton was working in LA last year, doing national broadcasts, and it seemed like he made it pretty clear he was interested in the Charger job, didn't get it, goes to the Broncos, and will be at SoFi Stadium next week. Any message you expect in the Broncos to try and serve to the Chargers outside of a win? Any kind of form of Sean Payton trying to embarrass this team?
Creative. I can't even talk today. Creativity would be what I'd say. I think Sean Payton's going to try to do something creative to embarrass the Chargers, try to put up a bunch of points. The Broncos lose today, 22-17 to the Texans. Russell Wilson has 3 interceptions. Maybe you could take whatever the Texans did. Texans have a better defense than the Chargers, but you'd expect Sean Payton to try to put up a lot of points like he would any other game. I don't think it's going to be anything different, but maybe he has some tricks up his sleeve that he's going to try to pull out. Courtland Sutton, we're going to talk about, but Courtland Sutton for me is the one guy you got to shut down on that team. He's been going off lately. I don't know. I don't think the Broncos are that great. They had a hot streak going, but I wouldn't say the Broncos are one of the top teams in the league.
I think today was a huge test for the Broncos and what type of team they were, and they kind of fell short. Plain and simple, they fell short in that manner. But this game's huge, right? And this is the game that you got to win for the Chargers if you want to crawl your way back into this playoff picture, crawl your way back into that second spot in the AFC West. It's huge. Like you said, that Sean Payton factor. If you don't think that Sean Payton's got a little anger coming in, knowing that, I should have gotten Staley's job. Yeah, I should have, let him go and then gotten me. Boy, he's going to do some damage to that offense. I'm going to hammer the Broncos team total over because he's going to do some damage to Staley's defense come Sunday. It's going to be a huge, huge test. Their defense is improved, but I still think that, the Chargers offense, there's ways they can exploit that defense, Dave. And that's what I'm looking forward to is what game do we could have Herbert and, how big of a game he kind of has, because I think it's going to be a huge test for him.
I agree with you. Like today's game, I look forward to every single Charger game. The one against the Patriots wasn't so much looking forward to. All 3 of us picked the under in this game. I mean, hell, the line could have been at 10 and we would have hit the.
Yeah,
we all picked the under, and we were right. So you kind of expected a little bit of a game that wasn't very exciting. Next week's game, I think, will be very exciting. Like I wish it started tomorrow. That we can see the Broncos and Chargers. Can't wait for that game next week. Of course, we'll talk about it a lot leading into that game, breaking it down and all the different storylines that are there. As Josh said, Cortland Sutton's a guy that you look out for because Russell Wilson looks for him first. But there's so many different storylines of what the Broncos are now and what they were at the beginning of the season. Who knows? Maybe this is a recharge situation for them after losing to the Texans, really what people think is a playoff team, two teams that you thought were playoff teams. The Chargers will figure it out. But again, inside your own division, we hate the Denver Broncos, and we wish them nothing but the worst when they come to town. And we know SoFi Stadium is going to have a ton of orange in there. Doesn't mean anything. The Bronco fans do it wherever they are, that either they're already in that city or they support that team really, really well. Doesn't matter. I'd love to see the Chargers ruin their day. It should be an exciting week for all of us. So we're going to have two more shows leading into that game, and of course we'll be on right after the game. We'll look at your comments. Go ahead, Mario. I'll let you talk. You're the birthday boy.
No, I just wanted to spend at least 2 minutes. We mentioned it earlier in the show, but I'm so curious. Bama boys, how pumped up were we on yesterday? How good were we feeling? Because I ran into some Georgia fans, and just as a joke, this guy was talking to one of my friends. And I just put the score up to his face, and was like, "Tough loss." Didn't know who he was. I thought you would think it was funny. You would have thought I shot his dog by the way he reacted. He was not for it. So how are you feeling? Yeah, I mean, that'll happen one day.
Josh, go ahead.
The criteria is the four best teams get into the playoff, and Alabama is one of the four best teams. So don't tell me FSU should be in there when they can't even move the ball. They're missing their quarterback. It's a travesty that they lost their quarterback. I'm sorry. My team got in. I'm happy. Okay. Do you see that Alabama flag behind me? I'm really happy about this. Alabama is one of the four best teams. And honestly, I'll take it one step further. If you're going to say the four best teams should get in, Georgia should be in too, because Alabama barely beat them. And Washington probably should be out. Even though they're undefeated, you can't tell me Washington's better than Georgia. If they were to play today and Vegas was to make the line, you tell me Washington would be favored? No. Okay. I'm really happy about Alabama getting in. They deserved it. They got hosed last year and they deserved it this year. So I'm on cloud nine.
I'm with Josh, obviously. So I was a little bit surprised, a little bit shocked that I think they got it right, because I think there have been times that they've messed this up. But here we talk about gambling a lot on this show. If you look at the Vegas odds, and Vegas doesn't not care about any school. They have no allegiance to Michigan, to Washington, to Alabama, FSU. What is Vegas concerned about? Money. Vegas is not in the business of losing money. And if they put the odds are on the best teams, I'd let Vegas pick this thing every year. Forget the guys in the room with their computers. Vegas knows better than anybody on what the trends are and what teams are what and what conferences are what. I'd let Vegas pick it. And guess what? Vegas, just kind of what Josh said, would have stuck Georgia in there too. Because if Georgia was playing Washington right now, who would be favored? Georgia would be favored. If Georgia was playing Texas right now, Georgia would probably be favored, right? You lost one game out of your last 30. So Alabama to beat Georgia, yeah, Alabama belongs in there. Again, they got the right teams. People are probably pretty upset. I don't care about Florida State. The entire state. I'm gonna pick another fight on this show. Go ban another book. Your team lost. I don't care. All right, roll Tide. We'll see you January 1st in Pasadena. If we want to look for Josh and me, we'll be the guys walking out with our hands up in there because our team just beat Michigan.
Oh, you think so? You think they got Michigan? I'm pumped for the game.
Michigan hasn't beat Alabama since Tom Brady. You weren't even alive, Mario. You were alive.
Yeah, that or one. I was like probably 1 year old, maybe.
You're old.
I loved it. I mean, I thought whoever wins the SEC championship, if it's Bama or Georgia, you cannot deny the SEC champion. You can't.
No. And people who hate the SEC, watch the NFL draft. Every year it's the same thing. That first round is loaded up with SEC players every year. Come on.
Yeah.
You tell me the best players go. Everyone knows the best players come from that conference right now. Guess what? Texas is going to be in the SEC next year. Why do you think they left? They left their conference because their conference sucks. Yeah. Joined the SEC for a reason.
I love it.
Can't wait. It's going to be exciting. Thanks for asking the question, man. You made my day right there.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Dude, I love it.
Yeah. We'll take
Yeah,
any
go ahead.
questions offline too. If you want to talk crap, I'm happy to talk about this with anybody.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
yeah,
it
Right to me.
did
YouTube
fire me
comments.
up. I loved it. Like I love that debate, and it's so funny to me because it's. I mean, I've said this multiple times, but I would love to be in that room because this standings was so much of. But Bama passes the eye test. And I love that argument. That's my favorite argument of all time because they do, and they're really, really good. They deserve to be in it. They do. But like, I just love that there is some guy crunching numbers and just going, well, actually, Florida State should be in. And there's some guy going, you shut your mouth. They don't pass the eye test.
That's
With the third string
what's
quarterback.
that's what's going on. Dude, all I'll say is this. Okay, so Alabama play the 5th toughest schedule in college football, and Florida State play the 55th. Now, if this was just a regular Saturday and you're going, okay, you're playing the 5th best team in the nation, but the other team over here is playing the 55th best team in the nation. Come on, man. That's not a fair matchup. That's not a fair comparison.
Yeah.
5 and 55. Come on, just play somebody outside of Our Ladies of the Sissies. Your conference matters just like it does in high school. All right, I watched the California State Championship games a couple days ago on TV, and there's one team that was our best team in San Diego County playing against a team up in Mission Viejo, which is near Los Angeles, Mario. And the team in San Diego lost. Okay, the team in Mission Viejo won. Well, then they have another division, which is, I don't know, division 5 or 6. Who knows where the hell that team is? Guess what? They won. They won the state championship. They're walking around San Diego today saying we're state champions. Dude, they wouldn't score 1 point against the team that lost. You know what I mean? There's a difference.
Yeah.
You can't. Yeah, you're state champions for your division. But please, man, there's a difference. Conferences matter where you play. There you go. That's where I'm at. So whatever. You want to go ahead and leave a comment and choose hate, go ahead. You're going to lose. Leave your comments, though, on YouTube talking about the Chargers. We'll take those and answer all those as best we can. Again, we appreciate you listening to the Bolt City podcast through the Odyssey app. The YouTube comments are great. Please keep them coming. We'll have a show in a couple days for you. Most importantly, man, we want to wish our boy Mario a very happy birthday. Hope he has a great day today out celebrating. So for Josh Pele, I'm Dave Pele, and the birthday boy Mario Heron. We'll see you in a couple days.